everybody. Good evening. I guess if you're in the U.S., good evening. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We are here to bring you live coverage. I gotta adjust my camera a little bit here. We are here to bring you live coverage of the SpaceX Starship Flight Test 11, which, did they just update the time? Supposedly it's a go for tonight. According to their website, T-minus 58 minutes and 37 seconds. I should put up our clock for this. That's what I'm going to do. So it's in... It looks like they pushed it 10 minutes. Did they? I'm confused. It was the launch window originally opened up at 7:15 Eastern time. But now it looks like they've maybe bumped it something or other. Volume is low. Somebody said the volume is low. It doesn't look low on my levels. The volume looks fine on my levels. How is the volume for you guys? How is my volume? Doesn't look that bad from where I'm looking at. Everybody else says it's fine. One person said it's low. Everybody else says it's fine. All right, well, there you go. Okay. Usually if there's a major problem... Oh, you know what I have to do? I have to do one thing. I have to do one thing really quickly. I have to make an adjustment here. So, let me... This will take about 10 seconds. All right, hold on. I'm going to disappear for about maybe 10 seconds. Give me 10 seconds. All right, I think I did what I needed to do. Hopefully that fixes everything. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. All good. All good. All good. Now, yeah, currently SpaceX says that it's in 56 minutes. So I'm going to estimate that we're talking about 1:23 my time, about 7:23. I'm going to put a clock up that I think gets you the best, gets you a reasonable estimate of when this is going to happen, and then I can adjust the clock if it. I can adjust the clock if they adjust their time. All right, so today is the 13th, and it's going to be okay. I'm getting the clock on the screen right now. Launch scheduled in How does this look? How does this look? Okay. That's not exactly the SpaceX counter, but it's about like 15 seconds off. So that's not bad. I will adjust it if they adjust it, but at least now we have a clock on the screen. Oh, what's going to happen is before the launch, I think it's 30 minutes before launch time, we're going to start watching their live feed. We can watch their live feed. So we'll go to that. I mean, they'll have a clock on their live feed. And their live feed starts about a half an hour before launch time. So as soon as I get their live feed, I'll put it up there for you. But they haven't started their live feed yet. But this is the 11th test flight. The last one we covered, it wasn't even that long ago. When was flight test 10? Like a month ago? And that was successful. That was a big success for them. They had a few, I think about 3 where there was a failure with the upper stage. But then the last one went well for them. Put a clock up when their live feed starts? No, we're not going to put a clock up of when their live feed starts. They did post SpaceX, just so you know. They said that they have begun. So the new start time. The new start time is 7:23 p.m. NASAspaceflight.com says it's 7:23 p.m. and 41 seconds. But it is SpaceX said they were go for propellant load. They are go for propellant load. So about 53 minutes, and we're going to have the live feed for you. Okay. Yeah. So this is SpaceX is developing this Starship space launch vehicle. It has the top part, which is the spacecraft, and the bottom part, which is the booster. And they are developing, it has never been manned on one of these flights. One thing they would like to do is get it developed enough to get it approved to take astronauts to the moon in 2027. There's a version of it that NASA has contracted with them to make, which they would like to use that to bring people to the moon by 2027. SpaceX wants to use this also as their next generation cargo rocket to do things like bring satellites to space. And also Elon Musk has talked about using it to bring people to Mars. So this is like their big new space launch vehicle, which they have been developing. But these are test flights. This is not a manned flight. And the one today, we'll go over what they're doing with it. But there's not going to be, when it's all done being developed, in theory, both stages will land back at the launch pad and be fully reusable. Today, that's not going to happen. Neither stage is going to be landing at the launch pad today. They're both going to land in the water, I believe. So they're trying different things with the stages. We'll talk about that. They have posted what their goal for the flight is. Their goals for the flights are. But we'll be watching this. Again, we're going to watch the SpaceX feed. We're going to be taking your comments on the air, and we're going to watch it together. All right. Hey, I want to say thanks to our moderators who are here. We have Ruth Krafasi moderating. Thank you so much, Ruth. Beth Mythical, Roberts May Queen, Janet B, Ruth Krafasi. Sorry if I'm repeating anyone. Thanks. They're moderating over there on YouTube. Thanks also to our Twitch moderators. Good Luck Duck, Sarah. Thank you for moderating over there. And also Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. And our Facebook moderators too. By the way, I'm still in Madrid. It is 12:33 a.m. here. Just when I thought my schedule couldn't get any more screwed up, it is now even more screwed up than it was before. Shannon Davis Hughes is modding. Charlotte Webb is modding. Thank you. Margaret Riley's moderating. Hey, thanks, Kristen McConnell Gates, for the stars. Cindy Dennis says thinks it'll be super cool to watch. So thank you, moderators. All right, hang on a moment. Hang on a moment. All right, so again, the launch is scheduled for about 49 minutes from now. In about 19 minutes, that's when SpaceX will start their live stream. And we will go to the SpaceX live stream when it starts. Okay, so we're gonna be showing you, we're gonna be watching their live stream together and talking about it. So I'm keeping an eye on that. Oh, thanks to Ron Morse, our new member, and John Paul LeChance. Thanks for the membership. So nice of you. Let me take some of your comments here. Thanks, I am Charlie as well. Let's see what some of you guys have to say about this. Yes, I am still in Madrid. What are the odds, Pogo Bukin says, of the unplanned disassembly? Well, earlier this year, they had, I think, 3 straight failures of the upper stage. So here's the Wikipedia article on SpaceX Starship. You can see here it says, there was the in-flight failure of all 3 upper stages launched in the first half of 2025. And then also, wasn't it the first half of 2025 where there was an explosion on the ground during testing? But the last flight test went well. Yeah, 2025, flight tests 7, 8, 9, and 10. You can see on Wikipedia, 7, 8, 9, launch outcome, 7 failure. Now, they learn from each launch anyway. You know, it says failure here, but they learn from each launch. They do a lot of testing. They're known for that, a lot of test flights. 7, 8, 9, they had failures with the upper stage, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 was August 26th, and that you can see success. That was a successful flight for them. Went quite well. The last one. That we covered about less than 2 months ago. And you can see it says future launches, October 13th. Flight 11 will be the last flight of Block 2 vehicles and is expected to be the last flight from Pad 1 in its current form. It will fly a similar profile to the previous 2 flights, but with a more complete heat shield. 24 engines will refly on Booster 15. Oh, and look, this is kind of cool. I didn't realize they did this on Wikipedia. Wikipedia is actually live updating for the Flight 11, the flight timeline. Look at that. Time, minus 1 hour, 15 minutes. SpaceX flight director conducts poll and verifies go for propellant load. Yes, that has happened. It's a success. Ship fuel, liquid methane load underway. Success. The Starship flies with a combination of liquid methane and liquid oxygen. So I didn't know you can go to Wikipedia and check out this page. They're updating it there. So they got to load the fuel. They got to load the liquid methane and liquid oxygen into the ship and the booster. The ship is the top part. Booster is the lower part. Once they load the propellant, then they can move towards launch. We're close. I mean, if everything's up in about, if nothing delays anything, in about 15 minutes, we will start watching the SpaceX live stream. There have been, I know those of you who watch our coverage of this or keep up with these things know that earlier in the year, I think if I remember right, there were at least 2 launches where debris ended up coming down because there were failures during the launch and it impacted air traffic. Like flights had to divert. I know that happened at least once, but I think I remember it happening twice. So hopefully that doesn't happen this time. Our viewer, our viewer Chris N says this is the last Block 2 and the last ship launch from this pad. The is Block 2, is that the version? Yeah, there's Block 2 and Block 3 versions. The versions of the Starship are called Block 1, Block 2, and Block 3. And this is Block 2, but like our viewer said, I believe this is supposed to be the last Block 2. It'll be the last flight of a Block 2 Starship vehicle, says Wikipedia. So a couple things, you can go to the SpaceX page and they talk about what their goals are for the test flight. And it gives you a preview of what's happening. Just to run down some of the things here. They say that the flight test today is going to gather data for the next generation Super Heavy booster. That's the bottom part. They want to stress test Starship's heat shield. That's the top part, the spacecraft. And they want to demonstrate maneuvers that will mimic the upper stage's final approach for a future return to the launch site. They have never actually, they have done tests where the booster went up and was caught by the chopstick arms at the launch site. They have never done that with the Starship, I believe. The Starship spacecraft. The primary test objective today for the booster will be demonstrating a unique landing burn engine configuration planned to be used on the next generation Super Heavy. It will attempt this while on a trajectory to an offshore landing point in the Gulf of America, they say, and will not return to the launch site for catch. So they are testing a landing burn engine configuration with the booster today that they're planning to use on the next generation of the booster. Okay. And they also say that the upper stage, the Starship, will have multiple in-space objectives, including the deployment of 8 Starlink simulators, similar in size to next-generation Starlink satellites. They did that last test flight where they deployed these, they're like dummy, they're not actual Starlink satellites, but they're like dummy versions of them, similar in size. So they practiced deploying these things. We saw that last time. The Starlink simulators will be on the same suborbital trajectory as Starship and are expected to demise upon entry. They will also test relighting a single Raptor engine in space on the Starship spacecraft. Also, another thing they're going to do with Starship spacecraft is they did this last time, they've removed some tiles from the Starship spacecraft to intentionally stress test vulnerable areas across the vehicle. And they're doing other, tests to try to help the ability to learn more and to try to help the ability in the future of Starship to return to the launch site. They say to mimic the path of a ship, to mimic the path that a Starship will take on future flights returning to Starbase, the final phase of Starship's trajectory today includes a dynamic braking maneuver and will test subsonic guidance algorithms prior to a landing burn and splashdown in the Indian Ocean. So the booster will splash down in a controlled landing in the Gulf of America, they say, and the Starship, the top half, will do a landing burn and splashdown, if all goes well, in the Indian Ocean. And in about 9 minutes or so, we should have the SpaceX live stream, which I will start showing you as soon as it starts. And this is taking place, is it Boca Chica? It's at Starbase facility in Texas. Starbase is formerly Boca Chica Village in southern Texas. All right, let's take some of your comments. Again, as soon as the SpaceX live stream starts, we will be showing that to you, and we'll be talking about it. Storm Laughter says it's huge when you take off some of the heat-resistant tiles. I forget which. Storm Laughter mentions a space shuttle crash where the tiles were an issue. I forget which one, if not more than one. Columbia. So was it Columbia? I'm not sure. Yes, so if you look at Space Shuttle Columbia disaster, man, that's sad. That there were 7 crew members lost in that. That was in 2003, 22 years ago. During launch, a piece of the insulating foam broke off the space shuttle's external tank and struck the thermal protection system tiles on the left wing. Before re-entry, NASA managers limited the investigation, reasoning that the crew could not have fixed the problem if it had been confirmed. When Columbia re-entered the atmosphere of Earth, the damage allowed hot atmospheric gases to penetrate the heat shield and destroy the internal wing shell structure, which caused the orbiter to become unstable and break apart. So today, why are we bringing this up? Because as I just said a few minutes ago, one of the things SpaceX is doing today, it's not manned this test flight, is they are removing some of the heat-resistant tiles from the Starship to help them get more data about the stresses that Starship undergoes during reentry. They are stress testing vulnerable areas across the vehicle by removing some tiles intentionally. So that's why we were talking about that. We have about 6 minutes until the SpaceX live stream is supposed to start. Jerry Allen said, how was that 23 years ago already? Oh, I have an update for you from SpaceX from 5 minutes ago. Propellant load of the Super Heavy booster is underway. Live coverage, by the way, will start in about 5 minutes, they say. Okay? Live coverage starts in about 5 minutes. So as I mentioned, as soon as they start, I am planning on having for you their feed. And we will be watching that feed. So again, their live coverage is supposed to start in about 5 minutes. Then we can watch it and discuss it together. You know what, give me 1 second here. I'm just doing something here. Thanks for your patience. I'm just preparing so I can start showing you this when they start their coverage. Hey, thanks to John Boogman for being a member. This is in Texas. This is in Starbase, Texas, formerly Boca Chica Village in southern Texas. I believe the flight is supposed to take about an hour. Let's go back to that. Oh, look, I bet the Wikipedia is updated. So here it was before. Here's the Wikipedia Flight 11 timeline. And if we refresh, I bet it'll be updated. Oh, look at that. It all updated. See? The Wikipedia page. So we now have ship fuel and ship liquid oxygen and booster fuel load and booster liquid oxygen all loading. All the propellant loading is underway. Did they start their stream? Hold on a moment. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on one moment here. I see they have started their stream, but it's just the graphics right now. It's just the graphics. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, the SpaceX stream is technically live, but they're just showing the SpaceX graphic right now. But I'm going to get ready to show it to you. I can't steal. There's some other space channels that have like their own camera of the spacecraft. I can't just steal their cameras for that. All right, so very shortly we're going to join the SpaceX live feed when they start broadcasting. I'm getting ready to have it on the screen for you. Let me actually do something real quick to get extra ready to have it on the screen for you. Give me a moment here. I am getting ready. Okay, we should be good to go. Hey, thanks to Fred Flintstone for the memberships. That's so nice of you, Fred. Thank you so much. Fred Flintstone. Make sure you thank Fred or somebody else if they give you a membership or a subscription. Let me shout out our moderators one more time because I really appreciate them being here. BZ, Beth Mythical on YouTube, thank you. Roberts May Queen. Ruth Krafasi, thank you so much. All of our moderators over on YouTube, thank you. Our Twitch moderators, 13 Alamo, Serrero, Sarah, and Tariag, thank you so much. On Facebook, Charlotte Webb, Margaret Riley, Shannon Davis Hughes, thank you. Thanks, Chuck Mosca, for being a subscriber, by the way. Thanks, Chuck. And thanks also to Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. So right now, it's about a half hour till launch. SpaceX is about to go live on their feed. When they go live, we'll start showing their feed. Well, they've gone live, but it's just their graphic. Let me also do something else really quick here. Give me 1 second. Thanks for your patience. Getting ready to have this for you. Oopsie, sorry. That should be good to go. That should be ready. Okay, SpaceX, their feed is starting. So guys, let me get it on this. Well, let me get it on the screen for you. Give me 1 moment here. Just give me 1 moment. Just give me 1 moment. I'm going to get it on the screen for you. Let's be patient. I can't play their music. All right. Here is their feed. Is this going to work? All right, there it is. So again, I got to put a thing up that says video from SpaceX via Reuters. Oopsie. All right, so this is their feed, but I think they're playing music right now, so I'm going to avoid playing the music. But we're watching. About 29 minutes till launch. Hey, thanks Fiona Stroud for your support. Very much appreciate it. Fiona Stroud, thank you. When they start talking, I will put on the volume. Are they talking? Well, I got to check now. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Volume, volume, volume. We need volume. We need volume.
Jake Berkowitz.
We need volume.
SpaceX.
And I'm Jake Berkowitz, a lead propulsion engineer on our SpaceX Raptor team. Today we're coming to you live from Star Factory, just under 2 miles away from the rocket on the pad. Right outside on the lawn, the crowd is starting to gather, and after liftoff, we expect that crowd to head back in to watch the rest of the launch with us and have a party.
And right behind us are 3 generations of Raptor engines, the third of which we're looking to debut on the next generation of Starship. And we'll talk a little bit more about that upgraded rocket later in the program.
Yeah, and if you watched Flight 10, you'll know it was a really, really good day for Starship. All objectives were met, and we got tons of great data to learn from. And today, we're looking to build on the success of that flight.
Yeah, that's right. Like in Flight 10, we're again planning to deploy Starlink simulator satellites as well as test the limits of ship's heat shield during re-entry. A controlled descent, flip maneuver, and soft splash in the Indian Ocean are also planned for ship. And hopefully, our recovery team will be able to deliver some more of those amazing views that we got back on Flight 10.
Yeah, those views were just awesome. Another crazy thing, and for those of you keeping track, today actually marks the 1-year anniversary of our historic first ever booster catch. That was Booster 12. And even though we're not attempting a catch today, every time we launch a Starship, it's a big day. All right, so everyone, buckle up because maximum excitement is guaranteed.
All right.
And Dan Hewitt joins us from over near Mission Control. Dan, how are things looking for launch today?
Hey, Jake. Hey, Amanda. Hey, everybody. We're looking great. I'm Dan Hewitt with SpaceX Communications. That's right. Right behind me is our Launch Control Center here at Starbase. Flight Control team is on there. They're getting Starship and Super Heavy ready for liftoff. So as you can tell, when we look at the vehicle, prop load is underway. Things are looking good. We did shift our T0 a little bit. We're tracking to 6:23 p.m. Central Time, just a couple minutes into our window. All right, so as we noted, back in August, Flight 10, it did all the things. Did all the things we wanted it to do. Started off with Super Heavy, those 33 Raptor engines igniting, lifting off right at the top of its window at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. It was able to do a successful ascent, followed that up with hot staging, Starship's upper stage igniting those 6 Raptor engines, separating Super Heavy, making its way back down. We saw the hot stage pop off. It then completed its boost back burn, put it on the course towards that splashdown zone. It successfully did that landing burn when we intentionally disabled one of those 3 center engines. During the final phase of that, used a backup engine, entered into its final hover, shut down the engines, and then splashed down into the water. Ship, meanwhile, completed full duration ascent burn, got to its planned velocity, successfully put it on that suborbital trajectory, and then it was on to the in-space stuff. That first in-space objective was completed. 8 of those Starlink simulators were deployed. That was the first successful payload demonstration we've ever had from Starship. Each of these simulators, similar in size to the V3 Starlinks that we're going to be launching next year to add significant capacity and capability to the network. Then it was on to our second ever in-space relight of a Raptor engine. That's a key capability for when we're going to do deorbit burns on future orbital missions, and then when we're doing deep space maneuvers. Then on to the critical reentry phase, we're able to get data on the performance of that heat shield, the ship structure, push the envelope on it, using the flaps, got it down to the splashdown zone, did the landing flip, did the landing burn. Killer views from the recovery team, soft splashdown over in the Indian Ocean. We were just about 3 meters off of our target, so pretty much nailed it. It was a huge day, tons of excitement here at Starbase. Just a reminder, though, this is still the early days. I mean, we're on Flight 11 today. There's a lot more we're going to do to get full reusability, increase our launch cadence, eventually start sending missions to the moon and Mars. I mean, we've got thousands of launches to come. But for now, we're looking good for launch. Toss it back down to Amanda and Jake.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. Starship is the first orbital launch vehicle engineered to be fully reusable, just like a commercial airliner. In fact, to the end, we're actually reflying a Super Heavy booster for the second time today. This booster last flew on Flight 8. So let's just start with how powerful this rocket really is. When you stack Starship up against one of the world's biggest airplanes, the 747, a single Raptor engine is actually double the thrust of all 4 airplane engines put together. So that means the Super Heavy over on the pad right now, with its 33 Raptors, is equal to the power of about 64 747s.
Yeah, that's just crazy, Amanda. The power this rocket generates is incredible. To be specific, it's over 16.7 million pounds of thrust. Numbers almost incomprehensible, but it's just crazy. All right, to break it down, Starship is made of 2 parts. First is the Super Heavy booster, which is powered by 33 of those Raptor engines that run on liquid methane and liquid oxygen. And second is the Starship upper stage, powered by 6 Raptor engines. 3 are optimized for sea level performance, and 3 are for vacuum performance with that larger nozzle extension. All right, it's the Starship's second stage that will one day carry cargo, payloads, and people all the way to Mars and beyond.
The Super Heavy booster is designed to launch, separate, flip, and return to the launch site where it can be caught by the chopsticks on the launch tower. However, as previously noted, we won't be attempting one of those catches today. Starship, on the other hand, re-enters the Earth's atmosphere at the conclusion of its mission, steering itself to a vertical landing or catch. And both stages are designed to return to Earth and fly again, making this the first rocket in history that will be fully reusable.
Yeah, and we cannot forget that between the 2 vehicles is the hot stage ring, a structure made of steel that allows the ship's engines to ignite while still attached to the booster, enabling a faster and more efficient stage separation. Right now, that hot stage ring is single use, but in the future, it will be built
to a vertical landing or catch
booster forward end.
And finally, the infrastructure built to support Starship is referred to as Stage 0. This includes the launch pads, tank farm, and the launch towers, which hold the chopsticks that catch the Super Heavy booster and eventually will also catch the ship.
Yeah, and to get us ready for launch today, we recently conducted another static test fire, basically where we fire up the engines to mimic a launch without actually launching. We're seeing the booster on the screen right now. It's a crucial milestone to let us know we're ready to go. And then here we're seeing ship. We did this for the second time on a retrofitted mount on pad 1. We had a full 9-second duration burn on
that
all
catch the
6
Super Heavy booster and eventually will also catch the ship.
Yeah, and to get us ready for launch today, we recently conducted another static test fire, basically where we fire up the engines to mimic a launch without actually launching. We're seeing the booster on the screen right now. It's a crucial milestone to let us know we're ready to go. And then here we're seeing ship. We did this for the second time on a retrofitted mount on pad 1. We had a full 9-second duration burn on all 6 engines.
We should also note that today's launch on pad 1 is intended to be the last launch on this pad in this configuration. As we head into the next generation Starship flight test program, we'll be modifying pad 1 to meet the demands of our future missions.
Yeah, and among many other things, we're installing a new orbital launch mount, a new flame trench system, and upgrading the chopsticks for future catches. So until that's complete, we'll be running operations from pad 2, which will be coming online very soon. All right, let's go over to Hawthorne, where Tyler is ready to talk a little Starlink.
Thank you, Jake and Amanda. My name is Tyler Lionquist, and I'm a Starlink business analyst here at SpaceX. Starlink is SpaceX's low Earth orbit, high-speed internet that's bringing connectivity both on Earth and in space. So, Starship is outfitted again today with 4 Starlink terminals, powering those incredible live shots of ship in orbit, through re-entry, and then all the way down to splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Now, we've had a couple of recent milestones that are worth celebrating. Back in September, we launched Starlink for its 300th time. And this summer, we surpassed 7 million active customers with service available across 150 countries and territories. We've come a really long way since turning on service for our first paying customer in rural Idaho 5 years ago, back in October of 2020.
All right, is this music? I can't play the music. Okay. Hey, I can't play the music, but
maples are looking.
So I'm gonna pause during their musical video thing. Hey, thanks for joining us. We got about 20 minutes until SpaceX Starship Flight Test 11. We're watching it here together. Gonna see what happens. Take your comments on the air. A couple of quick thank yous. Thank you to I Am Charlie. Excuse me. Thank you, I Am Charlie. To Can I Pet That Og? Jean-Paul Lachance, thanks for the memberships. Fiona Stroud, thank you. Jeremy Freeman, thank you. Jeremy Freeman says, you would think with these tech these days, they could hit the moon quickly. Maybe we can talk about that after. There's this whole interesting question about why is it that they could go to the moon, whatever it was, 55 years ago or whatever. But the technology is different now. It's an interesting question. There's like articles on that kind of thing. Oh, let me go back to so Jeremy, maybe we can talk about that after. Hold on a second. I gotta turn this back up. Oh, and thanks Fred Flintstone too.
And rail, and have expanded our emergency response capabilities. We've activated high-quality internet for millions of people, including those that live in some of the most remote places on Earth. Starlink is enabling rural school districts, counties, and tribal governments to offer online access to education, telemedicine, and many other critical services, in some cases for the first time ever. And yet, a third of the planet continues to go without access to reliable high-speed internet, so there's a lot more work for us to do. But Starlink was designed from the very beginning to meet these needs. And as each new version of Starlink comes online, the constellation's capacity and performance increases significantly. The larger V3 satellites that will deploy from Starship will bring gigabit connectivity to users and are designed to add 60 terabits per second of downlink capacity to the Starlink network. That's more than 20 times the capacity added with every V2 mini launch on the Falcon 9. And then on the cellular front, last month, SpaceX announced a deal that provides Starlink with exclusive spectrum for its next generation direct-to-cell satellites, which will be capable of providing broadband service to cell phones globally. Starlink is the largest 4G coverage provider on Earth. Over 7 million people across 5 continents already rely on Starlink to connect their LTE phones to data, voice, video, and messaging, where terrestrial service is unavailable. So we're excited to have the opportunity to help close those coverage gaps and ultimately eliminate mobile dead zones around the world. So yeah, there's a lot happening with Starlink, and there's a lot more to come. So let's head back to Amanda and Jake at Starbase to take us through today's flight profile.
Thank you so much, Tyler. So today's flight profile, we're looking to get our second re-entry with this iteration of ship. And prior to every launch, we work closely with the FAA and international air traffic organizations to efficiently and safely integrate launch and re-entry operations into the airspace.
And we've got a special guest here. We're live.
Hey, look who's here.
How's it going? Good to see you, boss.
Hi.
Hey. How's work out?
Good. We're live right now.
What the?
Yeah. Getting ready for Flight 11. How are you feeling for it?
Good. This is the first time that I'm going to be actually outside standing and watching the rocket. Normally I'm in mission control and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
But now I'll be standing out in the garden there.
Okay.
So
awesome.
It's really going to be much more visceral.
Yeah. You're going to feel
Great
it.
place
It's going to be. It's going to be. It's going to be awesome. We'll be in here this time, but usually we're out there watching. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
Good luck.
Later.
And have fun.
Have fun.
There you go, special guest. You got a special.
All right. So that was an exciting cameo there. But yeah, starting with liftoff, we'll get into the flight profile here. Super Heavy will ignite 33 engines, 24 of which are flight proven today. We'll power through ascent ahead of hot stage separation, where booster will shut down all but 3 engines. Stage 2 lights its Raptor engines while still attached to Super Heavy. That is what we call hot stage separation. We'll see a directional booster flip and engine relight for boost back. And we'll be intentionally headed to a splashdown in the Gulf with a V3 style landing burn demonstration today.
Meanwhile, ship will continue with its ascent burn to a suborbital trajectory, where it will attempt to deploy 8 Starlink simulator satellites. And we're also planning to relight a single Raptor engine. Then it's time for a re-entry, where we're once again testing the limits of Starship's heat shield by intentionally removing tiles. The ship will also perform a pretty dynamic banking maneuver that mimics the path of a return to launch site for Ketch that will fly on a future mission. And if all that goes as planned, we'll conclude the test with a landing flip, burn, and soft water splashdown in the Indian Ocean. So definitely another action-packed flight profile, Dan.
15
It's
minutes,
planned to be
guys. Hey,
the final launch of this version of Starship. version number 2. Right now, we're actively building multiple next-generation V3 Starship and Super Heavy vehicles in the factory, kind of right behind us, so let's take a minute and nerd out a little bit. All right, those are going to be launching from Pad 2, which is nearing completion down here at Starbase. Both the pad and the vehicles are going to roll in really significant changes. This is building on everything we've learned from all of these flight tests to make a vehicle that we're looking to mass produce. Starting with the Starship upper stage, which is going to look pretty similar on the outside, but it's getting pretty much a complete overhaul under the hood. We're getting major design changes to its propulsion system that's going to accommodate that new version of Raptor, which puts out higher thrust. We're also getting an energy storage upgrades, tons of avionics changes, a lot of things that will enable longer duration missions. One notable thing you'll start seeing on the outside are these new docking adapters, which we'll use when we bring 2 Starships together for propellant transfer. That's a core capability of Starship that we're going to demonstrate next year. Bottom line, though, this is the Starship we're planning to use for all of our next major milestones: orbital missions, return to launch site and catch, reuse, propellant transfer, and then making our way to the moon and Mars. Now, Super Heavy, we've shown some of this off, some of this hardware already coming out of the factory. It has upgrades like this, a redesigned fuel transfer tube. That thing's roughly the same size as the first stage of a Falcon 9 rocket. That channels all that cryogenic fuel down to Super Heavy's 33 engines. We made it bigger. It's basically a rocket inside of our rocket that gives us a faster, more reliable flip and simultaneous engine startup. New booster are also going to have an integrated hot stage, a lot more vent area, and it's designed to be fully reusable. Pressure from those engine plumes gets vented out, mostly offset just by the pressure in the fuel tank. That is the top of the fuel tank. And then we add a non-structural layer of steel on the top that helps take all the heating. It's mapped to where all the high heating goes. Grid fins also getting a big change, going from 4 down to 3. They're 50% larger, though, much higher strength. They're also going to get used for vehicle lift and catch. That's all made possible. There's a new catch point addition on those grid fins. We've also kind of reclocked their position on the booster. That aligns them with the catch arms. Yeah, we got it right in the middle there. All right, and then powering it all, Raptor 3. Looks radically different, just straight up radical. Tons of major changes. It's coming in higher thrust, dramatic reduction in parts, tons of control mechanisms moved inside. Our McGregor team's built some additional stands like this one, which essentially is the bottom of a Super Heavy booster, lets us do gimbal or steering tests, so that's been really exciting to see. We've also been getting vacuum versions of Raptor 3 into test. The first flight engines are already in production and are about to start acceptance testing for Flight 12. So a lot of exciting changes coming, and we're getting ready to mass produce everything, including one of the really key contributors to that rapid reusability, the heat shield tiles. Let's jump over to Tyler real quick in Hawthorne, who's got a really cool look at what's happening with tiles in Florida.
Thank you, Dan. Indeed, Starship's heat shield is the linchpin to full and rapid reusability. We can't launch, land, refuel, and launch again if we have to spend months refurbishing the heat shield after every launch, like they did in the Space Shuttle program. So, in a future where Starship is flying several times a day, many, many thousands of heat shield tiles will be required. So yeah, we need to get cooking on those tiles, which is exactly what's happening inside the fully automated bakery down at the Cape. In just 3 years, tile production at the bakery has surpassed the total number of tiles produced during the 30 years of the shuttle program. To go from the raw material to a finished tile, it takes about 40 hours. And today, the bakery is producing about 1,000 tiles a day. But it's set up to produce enough tiles for 10 ships per month, which is about 7,000 tiles a day, or a tile off the line every 13 seconds. So yeah, the bakery is well on its way to providing Starship with all the tiles for missions to Mars and beyond. And for today's flight, we've made a modification to the heat shield tiles. Dan, do you mind filling us in on what's being referred to as the Crunchwrap tile?
Absolutely. I always love to get to do a little show and tell. So we've got thousands of these heat shield tiles covering Starship. Now they're kind of all next to each other. There's a small gap in between all of them. You got to leave a little bit of space as that metal underneath will expand and contract. That way they don't crunch into each other and start breaking. However, that lets some of that plasma kind of seep through, and we see really high heating on the sides and then down on the metal. To help fix that, we have this, the crunch wrap that everyone has heard about. So we take essentially that's called Vulcan felt that we then wrap around. And so as these tiles are next to each other, you've got a small bit in between that's going to help offset that heating. It's just one of the ways we're continuing to iterate on this heat shield, getting towards rapid reusability. Hopefully it's going to help Starship live Moss, everything is just going to get us to that end state of a fully and rapidly reusable vehicle. So pretty much the entire vehicle has those on it today. We've done this on multiple Starships previously, but this time pretty much the whole vehicle has it. So that was special for today. All right, enough heat shield tiles. Let's go quick check-in on the pad. So if you did notice, we did shift our T0 just a little bit. We're now counting down to 6:23 and 41 seconds Central Time.
Less than 10 minutes.
We shifted a little bit as we were working to finish clearing the range. We are monitoring sea and airspace, both here over the Gulf and in our splashdown location over on the Indian Ocean. We were working with the FAA, a lot of other international agencies to coordinate all of this. Good news, range is currently green. We're able to get everything out of the way that we are tracking in the Gulf. So weather status, I don't even really need to do. Not a cloud in the sky. Beautiful day. No probability of violation for launch at this point.
Says, let's go.
We're not currently tracking any issues on the vehicle or the pad. You can see our fill levels are getting up there. We're almost completely done with our propellant loading. We've gone through all of our checkouts so far this morning, aligning our guidance, navigation, and control system, getting the vehicles ready for prop load, the farm. Everything's gone pretty smoothly so far. We got through our go, no-go for prop load. That happens at T-minus 1 hour and 15 minutes. We've been loading fuel and locks on board the ship since about 53 minutes before launch. Boosters started just about 10 minutes after that. We continue loading prop until just around 3 minutes before liftoff. And then at that point, we'll be ready to go. So bottom line at the moment, we're looking real good. Again, 6:23 and 41 seconds Central Time is our target T0. So we're going to keep counting down.
Exciting.
Sounds like great news so far. Thank you, Dan. And we do say it repeatedly because it's important to understand, but these flight tests are all about the data. Data helps us build and fly faster until we're eventually ready to fly people and cargo at scale to Mars. That is our foundational mission and basically just the major inspiration for our work here every day.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Amanda. And our first missions to the Red Planet are just down the road, and we recently shared some exciting news. Starship cargo flights to the Martian surface for research, development, and exploratory missions begin in 2030, and we already have our first customer.
Yeah, exactly. Starship is open for business, and one of the first payloads will be provided by the Italian Space Agency. They recently signed a first-of-its-kind agreement to carry Italian experiments on the initial Starship missions that deliver customer payloads to Mars. In related news, Starship cargo flights to the surface of the Moon for research, development, and exploratory missions will start in 2028. So a ton of Starship activity to look forward to, and if you'd like to learn more about our mission to making humanity multiplanetary, go ahead and visit spacex.com/Mars. Okay, now as we get closer to launch, development continues down here at Starbase, Texas, to shape this growing city into a truly unique place to live and work. And part of being a city, particularly one surrounded by nature, is environmental stewardship. The nearby Boca Beach dunes have unfortunately been eroding at an alarming rate for some time, so SpaceX is teaming up with Cameron County and the city of Starbase to stop that erosion and hopefully preserve the beach for years to come.
I'm just going to interrupt for 2 seconds. Quick thanks to Can I Pet That Dog? Thanks to Mark Emerson, and thanks to all you guys for tuning in. We got about 6.5 minutes till the launch. We're going to watch this launch together. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to be taking your comments after and during. So everything's looking good for the launch right now.
Yeah, Starbase is definitely the place to be, and we're always looking for more people to come help build the future of spaceflight.
Yeah, particularly engineers, especially for our propulsion and mechanical system teams.
You could be working on tests just like these ones, proving out the designs of our next generation Super Heavy booster. Fun fact, we actually tested the booster to 13,400 tons of thrust, which is more than the power of 3.5 Saturn V rockets, which is just crazy. We're also looking for civil and structural engineers to help literally build the future.
Whether it's buildings like the Gigabays currently going up at both Starbase and the Cape, each is a massive vertical integration and assembly facility with over 700,000 square feet of workspace. Both sites are currently in progress, actually going vertical as we speak. Or you could be designing the Starship launch sites of the future. There's really no shortage of future to build here. So visit spacex.com/careers to see all of our openings if you're interested.
Okay, now as we head into terminal count, all eyes are on the rocket. Dan, how are we looking? Are we green?
Amanda, we are so green. Everything's still looking really good. So we've got a green range, not tracking any blockers there to launch. We're continuing to load prop on board the vehicle. We're just about to close out, so we'll close out again, just about 3 minutes and 20 seconds before liftoff. We'll close out on ship, and then booster just about 30 seconds later.
Less than 5 minutes.
And then you end up with about 11 million pounds of liquid propellant on board those two stages. After we're fully loaded on the vehicle, the pad itself gets ready for launch. We do what's called pushbacks. We clear all that prop out of the lines in the tower and the feed system back into the tanks to get ready for launch. And then in the next couple of minutes, we're going to do our final GNC guidance, navigation, and control system alignment. We're going to arm the automatic flight safety system, and then we're going to do final kind of wiggle checks on the steering for the engines, which we might be able to catch a quick peek at as we get closer to those. If we need to hold, which we are not currently tracking a reason to, that would happen at T-minus 40 seconds. It's built into our countdown. We can pause and wait there for any final checkouts, anything that we need to hold for.
Once we pass that T-minus 40 seconds, a number of events will occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems come up to flight pressure, and ship switches to internal power. After that, the quick disconnect arm lockout is removed in preparation for retraction shortly after T0. Now, once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, if any problems come up, we do still have the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to T-minus 40 seconds and hold there to assess what happened, and then see if we can proceed again to liftoff.
Yep. However, once the water for the deflector system begins flowing at T-minus 10 seconds, any issue after that would be an automatic scrub for the day, as teams would need to refill the deflector's water tanks as well as the propellant storage tanks at the tank farm before making another attempt.
Look at this. Look at this. Wow.
All right, we are coming up on 3 minutes away from launch. You can see the frost line all the way up. We've just closed out prop load onto the ship. Booster coming up shortly.
Wow. 3 minutes,
in about 10 seconds,
guys.
we'll finish loading prop on the booster, and then again, we'll have about 11 million pounds of that liquid oxygen, liquid methane on board the vehicles.
Southern Texas.
Not currently tracking a reason to hold at T-minus 40. It can pop up at the last moment, or after we pass that gate. We can always hang out there for a couple of minutes if we need to. We do have some extra time. We're not constantly topping off the propellant in these vehicles, so we have about a 7-8 minute window where we can wait for any final issues to clear. We're not currently tracking a reason to hold there. Again, our range continues to be green as we look at sea and airspace, both out over the Gulf and in our reentry zone out in the Indian Ocean.
Oh, it's just a little over 2 minutes now, guys.
All right, 2 minutes, 15 seconds to go. A lot of things on tap for Flight 11. Planned to be the last launch of this version of Starship and Super Heavy. Once again, we're really focused on getting ship over to reentry. Once we get to that phase, we're going to dive in. There's a lot of exciting stuff that's going to be happening on our way back through and down to the ground, hopefully out in the Indian Ocean. Minute 45. Should hopefully be seeing... There's a quick wiggle check. Checking out the thrust vector control, the steering on the booster. We use those inner 13 engines. Doing their one final dance before the big show. And we'll do that one more time after we cross that T-minus 40 gate.
I think they're really going to take off. Let's hope for a good flight. This is an unmanned
range
test
continues
flight.
to be green.
Here we go.
Still not tracking any issues on vehicle or pad. 1 minute to go.
1 minute, guys. Here we go.
As a reminder, we can hold at T-minus 40. We're not planning to.
"40 seconds.
All right.
We're there.
We're through T-minus 40. Let's listen in.
We're
Flight
there.
Director Ty Huntington back in the seat. Take us through the final
Flight
seconds
directors, go
until
for launch.
Let's hope it goes well. Here we go, guys. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 13, 12, 11, 10 seconds.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow.
We have liftoff. Go Super Heavy. Go Starship. Thanks for all the historic flights, Pad 1.
We have liftoff. It's like a movie. Crazy.
Vehicles pitching downrange. Booster Raptor chamber pressure nominal.
Booster and ship, nominal power and telemetry.
Everything good so far.
All right, we are about 45 seconds into flight. We're still getting the rattle here at Star Factory. We are seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor engines lit on Super Heavy as it arcs across the Gulf. Coming up next on Max Q.
Max Q.
So at this point, we've passed through that period of maximum aerodynamic pressure. The next thing we're looking forward to is going to be hot staging. So we've got 33 out of 33 Raptors lit. Super Heavy makes its way uphill. Hot staging is going to be coming up in just a little over a minute. At that point, we're going to see all but 3 of those Raptor engines on Super Heavy shut down. Our version of MECO. Most engines cut off instead of main engine.
Hot staging is when the stages will come
And then
apart.
after that, we're going to release the clamps that are currently holding Starship to that hot stage adapter. It's then going to ignite its 6 Raptor engines to push it away from Super Heavy and then start making its flight uphill. So in about 30 seconds, we're going to see the engines start to shut down on Super Heavy. You'll see them kind of shut off in separate banks until we've just got those 3 center engines that never stop running for this process, and then looking for 6 ship Raptors.
So far, so good, it looks like.
All right. MECO coming up in about 10 seconds. See the engines throttling down.
Booster engine cutoff.
Good, that's good.
Ship ignition.
Hot staging. Stages come apart. There you go. There you go. They came
Stage
apart.
separation.
We got stage
Spec burn
separation.
startup.
All right, successful hot staging maneuver. So we've got 12 of the 13 engines lit back up on boosters, so it's doing its boost back. Real excitingly,
Ship
though,
chamber
we've got
pressure's
6
nominal.
out of 6 Raptors lit on ship there, so it's now going to continue to make its ascent into outer space. Meanwhile, this boost back is happening. We're using those 13 engines, so everything, well, 12 out of the 13, and then we go down to 3, and then we're going to shut down for the end of boost back. That's sending Super Heavy back towards its planned splashdown zone in the Gulf. Right after we finish this boost back burn, we're also going to separate the hot stage. This will be the final time
Boost back
that we're
burn shutdown.
doing this. Is all right, there's the end of the boost back burn. We should be seeing the hot stage. There. So the hot stage separates. It's going to make its way down, also splash down in the Gulf. In the meantime, though, these 6 ship Raptors are going to continue firing for about 5 more minutes.
Yeah, they're not catching the booster
Next up
today.
for the booster, though, is going to be its landing burn. There's a cool tracking shot. We
Wow.
dumped some of the prop out on our way back in.
They're doing a water landing for the booster
All right,
today.
so for booster, this is one of the main things we're trying to get is going to be this landing burn. Oh, that's so you can see the hot stage kind of making its way towards the very the left side, so that's the bottom of the booster. It's about to pass right in front of where you can see some of that prop dump happening.
Wow.
They look like they're close together, but there's a good amount of distance between them, and the hot stage will go down and splash down in the Gulf while the booster comes back for its landing burn.
Wow.
Starship is on nominal trajectory.
Nominal is good.
All
That's
right.
what they want.
Looking good on our trajectory, looking good on everything. Jake and Amanda, you guys with me down there?
Yeah, definitely. The crowd is gathering over here in the office. You can definitely feel the energy in here. Great to see that booster is making its way down to the splashdown zone in the Gulf.
Yeah, the shaking down here was absolutely nuts. The windows are still there, still intact, so that was pretty awesome. But yeah, booster's coming down. We're at about 30 kilometers. All right, yeah, and as we approach that landing, just like tower catches, we will be doing a 13-engine landing burn to slow down. This time it will be in a V3 configuration. And as we're starting to get into the denser part of the atmosphere, the booster is using 4 hypersonic grid fins to guide itself through atmospheric entry towards its landing site.
And we're just about 20 seconds away from landing burn start, where we'll first ignite the center 13 engines, then bring that down to 5 to slow down the booster for landing. And finally, that will come down to 3, and we'll cut all of them off while we're still about 200 meters in the air. So booster is going to see a bit of a harder
Booster landing burn startup.
Now you can see the water coming up. Look at this. Wow. Amazing.
Booster landing burn shutdown.
And there we heard it. Booster landing burn shutdown. We saw a 13 to 5 to 3 V3 demonstration. And into the water we go. Wow. That was absolutely awesome. If you can even hear us right now, congrats to the whole SpaceX team. So far, so good for today. That was incredible.
All right, great stuff, guys. I'm jealous of the crowd. All right, back to ship. Ship's still making its way. We've got a little under 2 minutes left in this ascent burn, so we've got all 6 Raptor engines still firing.
So far, so good with this ship as well.
So the next major milestone we're going to be looking for is SECO. That's our second stage engine cutoff. That's should be coming right at about 8 minutes and 58 seconds into flight, so we've got about 1:20 still to go. Really cool to see Booster go through that landing burn. That was one of our really key demonstrations we wanted to try and do today. That's mimicking what we're going to be hopefully doing. Oh, we just got our sonic boom, sounds like, from the booster coming back. All right, less than a minute to go. So we are going to see the 3 RVACs, the vacuum optimized engines, shut down first, and then we'll shut down those 3 center engines. So we should be a little under a minute until SECO. Just a reminder, this is putting us into a suborbital trajectory, so we're intentionally just going slow enough that we're not going to achieve full orbit. This puts us on a course where those engines shut off, and no matter what, we're coming back.
Starship is in terminal guidance.
In the Indian Ocean. All right, terminal guidance. So we should start seeing the shutdowns come up in just a couple seconds. Less than 30 seconds to go in this ship ascent burn.
About to shut off the Starship engines. Starship engine cutoff.
All right, RVACs have shut off.
3 of them are off.
3 more to go.
Right. On the lower right, you can see the engines on and off.
Ship engine cutoff.
Engines off.
All
In
right.
about 10
All
minutes,
ship
the payload
Raptors
demo
have
is
shut
Nominal
down.
orbit insertion.
You just heard nominal orbital insertion, so we are on the path that we wanted to be. So we've got a ship back in space, a whole lot planned for it, lots more still to come. Great seeing Super Heavy make its way to the water, but I'm excited to see what ship can do in space. How's everybody doing down there?
So the booster's already landed on the water.
Yeah,
like
if you could hear the
to.
crowd behind us this whole time, people are definitely happy with how the day's been panning out so far. Definitely exciting to see Starship safely in space, and super pumped to see all the team's hard work in action here today.
Yeah, and we guaranteed it at the start of the show, but it has been an awesome day so far. It's crazy. All this has happened in just 10 minutes. All the objectives were met on the booster, including that V3 style landing burn. So now all eyes are on the ship as we get ready for our in-space objectives. But we've got a few minutes until that next milestone, so sit tight, enjoy the views, enjoy the space jams. We'll be back at T plus 16 minutes for payload deploy.
So they're taking about a 6-minute break. So about a 6-minute break. You know, I think, I got to turn the music off. Hold on, I got to turn the music off. Let me do that. So I'll check back in about 5 minutes with them because I can't play the music. So they successfully did the water landing that they intended to do today with the booster. And coming up, actually, what they're going to do, I'm looking at the schedule, and it says that they're going to do the payload deploy demo. So starting in about 6-7 minutes, I believe, they're going to do this thing where I think it's 8. They have 8. It's like dummy satellites. They're the size of Starlink satellites, and they're going to deploy them, but they're not actual satellites, but they're the right size. And those will end up burning up on re-entry. But they're going to practice deploying, you know, something that's the same size as actual satellites. So we're going to see that. They did that last time. The only thing that's gone a little wrong is one of the engines, as some of our viewers were pointing out, one of the booster engines did not start back up when it was coming down. Wikipedia says, partial failure on super heavy boost back burn start, 12 of 13 engines ignited. Didn't seem to be a huge issue, but that was the one thing. But I mean, it's gone really well. I think if I remember right, in the first 3 tests this year, test flights, there were issues with the Starship all 3 times. I don't even think it got to this stage in the first 3 test flights of the year, although I may be wrong. But there were definitely failures of the Starship stage, the first 3 test flights. But it's going fine so far. Jake said all 13 started for landing. Well, again, I'm literally looking at the Wikipedia updated article, and it says partial failure, super heavy boost back burn start, 12 of 13 engines ignited. All right, so we're looking at this right now, keeping an eye on it. In about 3 minutes or so, we're supposed to get the audio back of the speakers, and they're going to start doing the payload deploy demo. Yes, I agree, Hoagie. On the screen, it showed that one of those engines was out for the booster when it was coming down. So, again, they learn from everything that happens. I just wanted to point that out. Some of our viewers pointed that out while it was going on. Hey, thanks, I Am Charlie and Ethereal Planet and Patricia Grace for your support, and Chappie and Jerry Kovacs, Can I Pet That Dog, Mark Emberson. We're going to keep watching this, taking your comments on the air. We'll talk about it after it's over, the test flight. Hopefully, the whole test flight is supposed to be 1 hour and 6 minutes. So if everything keeps going well, we have about 53 more minutes until Starship splashes down. The Starship launch vehicle, both stages are intended to be fully reusable, but today they are not. I don't think they've ever caught the Starship back at the launch pad. They have caught the booster before, but they're not doing that with either stage today. They're not trying to. So this Starship is going to be landing in the Indian Ocean. All right. Now, little stuff going on with the video. I'm not aware that anything is wrong, though. And I assume they're still playing the music. Let me double check on this, because they said they'd be back in about 6 minutes. But we're about to see payload deploy demo. Pulling it up here to make sure. Yes, they are playing music. They are playing music on the live shot, on the live stream. When is the next test flight? That is a good question. I got to see if I can quickly find that out. According to Wikipedia, the next test flight is going to be in 2026. That's according to the common Wikipedia article. Then maybe they'll end up changing. But when I look at the Wikipedia article with the list of all the test flights, it says after this, the next one is 2026. All right. We're waiting to get the audio back any moment now. Oh, they're back. Hold on. Let me get the audio back up for you guys. Hold on. Hang on a moment here. Give it one more second. Give it one more second. Hold on. Hang on. Audio coming back in a second. Hold on.
All right, well.
We got the audio back. Here we go.
But we are getting ready for payload deploy. That's going to start once we get the payload door open. That should be happening, or at least starting, within the next minute or so. It's been a really cool flight so far. Quick look inside the payload. We've got 8 Starlink simulators getting ready to make their way into outer space. But great flight so far. Booster able to make it all the way to its splashdown and landing burn experiment, so that was really exciting to see. We got ship on orbit, nominal orbital insertion, so right on the money with its trajectory. Now we're ready to start tackling a couple of in-space objectives. So next up, we are currently venting down the nose cone, essentially the payload area of Starship, as we get ready to open up this payload door. We were able to do this successfully for the very first time on our last flight, on Flight 10. Oop. Hal got ahead of me. Looks like he's opening up the payload door already.
Payload door is opening. They're gonna deploy those dummy satellites out the payload door. There they are right there.
All right, looks like we got the door open.
The first time they did this was last time. Now this takes about 7 minutes, I think. I think there's 8 of them.
All right, so payload door is open. Next up, going to be to start deploying these Starlink simulators.
Yeah, they're dummies. These are not actual.
They are roughly the same size as the V3 Starlink satellites that Starship's going to be carrying. That's going to add some pretty crazy capacity. We'll run through the numbers in a little bit. We were able to do this for the very first time ever on our last flight, and so this will be another test. We made a couple of tweaks to the rails for deploying this based off of what we saw last time, but excited to see these get out the door. Our next iteration of Starship's also going to have kind of a more powerful PEZ. It's going to deploy these at a little bit faster speed, but looking to see our next demonstration of this hopefully in the next couple of seconds. We should start seeing them move out the door.
Next iteration of the Starship, more powerful PEZ, he said.
I mean, that view on your left, so you're basically, that would be if you were sitting at the very top of the nose cone looking down. So there's kind of a short stack. There's 4 on either side, so 8 total. When we start flying Starlinks, for their actual deploy missions, we're going to be carrying stacks of about 60. So
wow.
Much larger stack once we start flying these operationally, but still doing a little bit of a short just for this payload deployed today.
Are they moving? What's happening?
Looks like we got a little bit of movement there, Dan.
A little bit of movement?
Coax it out.
Yes,
Get
here we go. Look,
Jake.
watch. Look,
There
see
we
them
go.
moving?
All right, first
Look.
one going out.
Out the door.
All right, first one's deployed. Getting ready for the second one here. We do a little reset back to the center position.
Pez dispenser.
Yeah, it
there we
takes
go.
about a minute for each one.
Look at it, goes right out there. Right out into space. These
Looks
will burn up in
real
re-entry.
smooth too. They made a couple of tweaks to those rails. If you watched the last ones, it had a couple of bumps on the way out, but moving out super clean this time.
They're going to burn up
and
in re-entry.
as noted earlier in the show, but definitely worth repeating, Starship will deploy Starlink's more advanced V3 satellites, adding 60 terabits per second of capacity to the network per launch. So that's 20 times more than each Falcon 9 launch does today. Just incredible.
It's going to very much help Starlink internet.
Yeah, and anybody that's been following Starship, you know Starlink's kind of the MVP for these flight tests, where it's not only giving us the views we're seeing right now, but also just real-time data through every phase of flight. So we've got a couple dozen cameras on Starship. We've also got a bunch of cameras spread across the
Here's
globe,
another one. There it
including out
goes.
in the
Bye.
Indian Ocean,
Go
where we've
into
got
space.
our fun buoys floating.
Go
There
into
goes another one.
space.
And I mean, we're using Starlink to bring all of this together. It's our drone shots you see
Did
here.
it actually go out there?
From
I can't see.
our
Did it
great
get
team
out?
down here at Starbase, all connected. So Starlink not only giving us cool views off the planet, but also on the planet, help bring everybody along for all these Starship flights.
There's another one. Next one. There it is, right there.
I think that's number 4. Somebody check my math.
I feel like it's like a pizza oven. Like that to me, it seems more like a pizza oven than a Pez dispenser.
Yeah, we've got
Maybe I'm wrong.
4 Starlink terminals on the outside of Starship. He uses that to talk to the constellation, and through that we actually get about 120 megabits of bandwidth for our downlink. That's our real-time HD video, all of our telemetry. So it's not just kind of giving us these cool views inside, but it's giving all that engineering data in real time, including re-entry when normally a plasma layer builds up and blocks you out. Starlink, powerful enough of a frequency that we're able to kind of punch through that and still get that live view.
Some of the viewers say they look like TV dinners being ejected. 4 more, I think. There goes another one. There it goes.
All right,
There it
next one
goes.
out the door.
What is that? What is
There
that
we
shot?
go.
I don't know what that shot is. Is that the ship, I guess?
All right, yeah, Starlink is the world's largest satellite constellation operating in low Earth orbit to deliver high-speed, low-latency broadband internet. This provides internet access to people around the world, many of who have never had connectivity before. Oh. Right.
Our
Today,
viewers are saying
Starlink
that-
serves
that's-
more
our
than
viewers are saying that's
150
looking at the
countries,
exit door.
territories, and other markets, with over
Kinda hard
7
to see
million
on that
active
shot.
customers and counting. To meet the global growing demand for high-speed internet, SpaceX expanded its factory over in Bastrop, Texas, which is just outside of Austin, and also introduced Starlink Mini, as well as an upgraded version of the Starlink Standard Kit.
Yeah, and one thing to note about this satellite deploy is that they will be following the same suborbital trajectory of the ship. So these dummy sats will not be going in orbit. We do expect them to burn up on re-entry.
All right, couple more to go. I promise one of these days we'll deploy in daylight. But we're basically trading deploy in the dark so we get those re-entry views for the daytime.
Yeah, he's talking about how it's dark, so it makes it harder to see. Oh, I think I see what you're saying. You can kind of see it. I didn't realize that, sorry. I was kind of in the way. I'm kind of in the way when I'm here. Behind me, you can I think you can see it go out behind me when I'm not there. So sorry
All
about
right,
that.
I think we got one more to go.
So I'll stay off to view while the next one goes out. It's kind of hard to see. Not the easiest to see. That's it, right?
All right, now with payload deploy complete, Starship will now close its payload door and continue to coast around Earth to the Indian Ocean. We still have a ton of major events to come today, including Raptor relight at about T plus 37 minutes. That will be followed by atmospheric reentry and splashdown. So with that, we're going to go on another quick coast.
Yeah, if you can hear us.
Payload door closed, right?
All right, with that payload door closed, we're going to sit tight, enjoy the views, and enjoy the space jams. Again, we'll be back in just a few minutes for Raptor relight and then head back for reentry.
All right, I have to turn off the sound during the space jams. I can't play the copyrighted space jams. So everything has gone very well so far for them. Everything's gone very well, pretty much. The only hiccup I'm aware of is, I don't think it's really a big deal, but one of the booster engines did not relight up for boost back burn. But, the booster came down the way they wanted to in the Gulf, and then you saw the payload deploy of the dummy satellites went great. The Starship is where it needs to be, which it did not get this far on several of the earlier test flights. And so what's coming up is in about 10 minutes, they will do the in-space relight demo, where they relight an engine in space. And then after that, it's we start to go to entry, where it comes back to Earth. So we'll be watching that, and then the landing burn and the splashdown. The whole flight takes about an hour and 6 minutes. So we'll take some of your comments right now as we watch this. But yeah, this has been a good flight for them. Thanks to Jason Perez. I'll say that. Thanks for your support. Our viewer Fish Like It Is sent me a video from Florida. It sounds like Fish Like It Is shot a video. No, I don't think I'm going to watch the other launch. Our viewer Fish Like It Is from Twitch, do you guys want to see Fish Like It Is' video? This is Fish Like It Is' video that they shot in Florida of Starship flying by. Our viewer just sent this to me. Fish Like It Is on Twitch. So let's take a quick look at this, real quick, from our viewer. There you go. That's our Twitch viewer, Fish Like It Is, shot that video of Starship going by tonight. Very nice.
Shout out to Agenda Free TV.
Hey, thanks, Fish Like It Is. bonus content from our viewer Fish Like It Is in Florida. That's pretty neat. And we got a shout out too. When I lived in Florida for a year, I used to be able to see the launches. I was farther away than this, though. I was in Orlando, and they would launch from the coast. But it was still cool. But this is better than I got to see. Hey, that was awesome. Thanks again to our viewer Fish Like It Is. That was really cool. Nice, fun. All right, now we're back at the live shot. In about 5 minutes or 5-6 minutes, they'll have the audio back. And we will go back to the live broadcast from SpaceX. Again, this Starship is being developed. This is really the new space vehicle that SpaceX wants to use. They're going to use it to bring commercial payloads to space. They are working with NASA. NASA has contracted with them to do a version of it that's supposedly going to bring people to the Earth, astronauts to the moon in 2027. That's the plan. Elon Musk wants to use this to bring people and cargo to Mars. But it's still in the test flight phase. But last test flight went great, and this one is going great right now. Oh, I can see it again. Hold on, we can see it again. Let me just make sure they're not talking again. Hold on a second here. Still music. It's still music. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to end up if it's going to end up going to the moon in 2027. I believe it's for the Artemis program, right? The Artemis program. Wikipedia says the Artemis 3 crewed lunar landing is expected to launch no earlier than mid-2027. Yeah, and Wikipedia also says a crewed variant of Starship developed under contract with NASA is called the Starship Human Landing System, which is scheduled to deliver astronauts to the moon as part of the Artemis program, beginning with Artemis 3 currently scheduled for 2027. Hey, thanks to John Sprott. I really appreciate that, John. Thank you so much. Also, thanks to Jean-Paul Lachance for all the memberships. That's really nice of you. And Carissa gave a bunch of memberships too. Thanks so much, Carissa. It's really kind of you. Thanks so much. Make sure you thank somebody if they gave you a membership or a gift subscription. That's really kind of you guys. Thanks to Deuce LM for subscribing on Twitch. Thanks Daddy Dino for subscribing on Twitch. Big Boss Now for subscribing on Twitch. Thanks Can I Pet That Og, who gave out a gift membership on YouTube and a gift sub on Twitch. That does not happen often. That's very cool. Thank you so much, Can I Pet That Og? We are bringing you live coverage here about 3 minutes or so until we're expecting to get the audio back from the commentators. And the next thing they're going to do, the one big thing left before the reentry starts, is the in-flight engine reignition test. And that is coming up in about 3 minutes. Let me just are they talking yet? I got to check again. No, they are, I can confirm they are not talking yet. They are playing the Space Jams, the music, which I cannot play. Steve asked, when will we put a human on the moon? Well, again, the Artemis program, NASA's program, is currently shooting for 2027. Now, I don't know if any other countries will have a human on the moon before that. Chaz Martin says it is not tumbling. I really appreciate you guys being here for this stream. You know what I'm going to do while I have a second? Let me just shout out our moderators real quick before they come back. The announcers come back. Ruth Krafasi moderating over on YouTube. Thank you so much, Ruth Krafasi. Linda Belglary, Misha on X, on Facebook, Charlotte Webb, and let's see. Oh, hold on a second. Margaret Riley, Michael Clayton is moderating, and thanks. Michael Clayton is a subscriber, and thanks Michael for the Facebook stars. Jan Lepavsky, our subscriber, thinks that it went out of control and the telemetry was stuck. I say the telemetry seems to be moving, so the speed is moving a little bit at this point, right? The speed is working. Thanks to, by the way, Jan Lepavsky for subscribing. I really appreciate that, Jan. And also, who did I know? Oh, the Twitch moderators. 13 Almo, Bastion Girl, Cerrero, Matthew Kohai 3, McBritches, and Surly Dev. Are they? Thanks all our moderators. Oh, they're back. Audio is back. Hold on, I got to put the audio back on. I'm putting the audio back on right now. The announcers are just coming back.
Missed some exciting stuff because Starship successfully deployed its second ever payload, 8 Starlink simulator satellites. And now we're expecting the relight of a single sea-level Raptor engine in space coming up here just after T plus 37 minutes. So about a minute left to go.
Yep, just a little while. I think we're tracking to 37 in around 49 seconds or so. So we should be just about a minute and a half where, again, as Amanda just said, we're going to relight one of those center engines. This will be the third time that we've tried this. We did it successfully back on Flight 10, and then we did it for the very first time back on Flight 6. This is not a deorbit burn. This is demonstrating essentially all of the systems you would need to do a deorbit burn. So that's obviously your Raptor engine, and then also your header tanks, your smaller tanks in the nose cone, where we have liquid oxygen, liquid methane in a smaller, more easily pressurized container, which we can use for on-orbit burns. And we're also going to tap into those when we do our landing burn. So this will be a critical capability. Once we go to full orbital missions, you'll have to do a deorbit burn to break out of orbit, send it back down to Earth. But in this instance, we're already on our way back down towards Earth. So this is just going to demonstrate the capability of turning one of these engines on. We should be coming up in just about 20 seconds or so, looking for one of those Raptor engines to turn back on. They've been off since we completed that successful ascent burn almost 30 minutes ago. Here we go.
Here we go.
Raptor ignition. And shutdown.
There we go.
All right, there was that Raptor relight. Looks like engine 3, full duration. As Dan mentioned, that's a third attempt, and we just did it 3 times in a row. So congrats to the team, the ship team, Raptor team. And then there we heard nominal second orbital insertion. All right, so congrats everyone on the milestone. That was awesome to see. We're 3 for 3. We're going to take another break, and we'll be back for re-entry at about T plus 45 minutes. We'll see you soon.
Okay, so we got about 6 minutes. In about 6 minutes, they're going to come back and they're going to announce us through the. I don't know what we just saw there. That's interesting. What are we looking at right now? Anything? Is that just normal? Is that just normal? Is that just normal? What we're seeing right now? Can anyone tell me? What's happening? What's happening? Is something happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's going on? What's going on? Is something happening? Are we okay? Everything's good? Everything's under control? Is there music playing? They're playing the music. Maybe this is just fine. It's not doing re-entry yet. It's not entering yet. So I don't know if this is just totally normal or what. Entry, it hasn't started entry yet. So maybe that's just normal. I don't know. The altitude is still, and the speed are working. A little more of that coming up right now, whatever it is. One of our viewers says it's just plasma when things go very fast. To repeat, it is not doing entry yet. Starship entry is supposed to begin in about 7 minutes, according to the schedule. Is there an issue? I do not know if there is an issue. Let me check and see something here. Is there some sort of issue? It's certainly interesting to look at. They're still not talking, right? They're still playing music. They're still playing music, okay? They are still playing music. No, the engines are not on. This is not coming from the engines. The engines are off, and it is also not doing entry yet. And now we're seeing that. Now maybe this is all just totally normal. Oh, there it just came back. Winding Road says they would interrupt if something were wrong. I mean, they didn't lose telemetry, right? We didn't lose contact with it. And it's still, the speed is still kind of slightly adjusting. Oh, thank you so much to Sydney for the memberships. I really appreciate that, Sydney. Thank you. Now is more of a steady glow, one of the viewers said. Yes. All right. Oopsie. Hold on. So we're supposed to get them back in about 3 minutes or something, I think. 2-3 minutes. The announcers will be back. Maybe they'll tell us what we're seeing. The Randy Bobandy says it's fine. The altitude, yes, as one of our viewers said, is 110 kilometers, which is about 60 miles. Dropping slowly, says B. Earhart. Oh, Cheryl Lamona said that our viewer, if I can, Cheryl Lamona Ingram said, I was watching NSF and they said the flashes are plasma. Chaz says, sorry. I was going to read what Chaz says and it flew by. Chaz says it's right on the line between atmosphere and space. Due to how fast it's going, it will generate plasma. That's what our viewer Chaz says. Waiting to hear from the announcers. They have not started talking yet. I can tell you that they have not started talking yet. Very soon, we're about to see the last stage of this test flight. Got about 20 minutes more, and we're going to see the entry. How about that? Ooh, they're still playing the space jams. But this has gone well. This has gone well. You can see that altitude dropping. Hate Luzin says it's getting hot coming in. It's got about 20 minutes left in the flight. Matthew Birdsey says, I think they'll nail it. Hey, thank you, Matt Barngrover, who says, why the moon? Why not Texas to Japan in 43 minutes? That's from Matt. Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate that. Waiting for the announcers to come back. They're still not back yet. I can't play it until the space jams are over and they're having the announcers again. Oh, they're talking now? Hold on. I'm waiting. Hold on. Oh, they're back. Hold on. They're back, I think. Hold on. Sorry.
Now we're using aero braking essentially to scrub off all that energy. And of course, Starlink is a big part of this, giving us the views we have right now, and also letting us gather as much data as possible, which again is really the main reason why we do these flights. And the view we have right now is actually a really good example. As we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, we have some tiles on the leeward side of the flaps here, and we have some different mechanisms, some stud out, basically to see if these tiles will hang on. And we can see already here, it looks like we kept most of them, but I think I see a couple there that are no longer there. So the thermal team is definitely going to be digging into that and taking that data to help us iterate on V3. So yeah, Starlink provides us with one more path to collect data and help us rapidly iterate Starship's design.
And if the ship does manage to make it all the way to re-entry, we'll collect valuable data on the spacecraft flying through the Earth's atmosphere at hypersonic speeds, or more than 5 times the speed of sound. Re-entry is typically a portion of flight where we don't have communications with spacecraft because it's re-entering at or around orbital velocity, which is roughly 8 kilometers per second or 5 miles per second. At those insanely high speeds, the spacecraft moving through the atmosphere creates a plasma field around the vehicle.
Yeah, and that blanket of plasma distorts communication frequencies, so it's not uncommon to experience brief blackouts in communication. All right, so big picture here, Starship is designed to land on Mars where there are no runways or other humans to help out. So that means we need to do a propulsive landing instead of a more traditional means like parachutes, which is what our Dragon spacecraft uses, or a runway like the Space Shuttle. Propulsive landing enables more rapid reusability.
Now, as the ship makes its way back to Earth, we should start hearing some call-outs when we hear entry max heating and entry max Q. That means the ship has made it through the maximum heating and aerodynamic loads it will experience as it returns. So if it makes it through all of those, that's a pretty good sign that we're doing well.
Yeah, and we heard flaps have control of the vehicle now. Okay, there's a great shot there. You're starting to see the plasma build up.
Wow.
So we will hear a call out when the ship is transonic and then subsonic. Transonic refers to the period of flight where the velocities of airflow surrounding and flowing past the vehicle are concurrently below, at, and above the speed of sound, somewhere in the range of Mach 0.8 to 1.2. All right, a lot of numbers coming up here, but for reference, commercial jets have a range of cruising speeds, but most fly around Mach 0.74 to Mach 0.85, which is 480 to 575 miles per hour, or 770 to 930 kilometers per hour. Right now, we're going a little over 26,000 kilometers per hour. So compare that to the airplane at 930. It's like pretty crazy how fast we're going here. All right, and after we hear the call out that Starship is transonic, we should hear the call out that Starship is subsonic. Subsonic, of course, refers to the speed that is much less than the speed of sound. So at that point, the ship's velocity will be starting to slow down, and we'll be looking a little bit more like some of our suborbital flights from, at this point, almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, so re-entry so far is looking pretty good. You can see that plasma field. Also, again, with those missing tile experiments, especially, we're putting the ship through a lot today, but things are looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, we're looking good. I do want to remind people that we are pushing ship to the limits. We've done a lot of these missing tile tests. We did it back on Flight 10. Every time we do it, we throw something new and the ship makes it through. This time, we're really pushing it. We've removed these tiles in some of the spots that see the highest level of heating. and we remove tiles that have zero backup protection underneath. So there's essentially just bare steel. It's one of the heat of re-entry. And so do not be surprised if this is not a very smooth flight on the way down. But again, this is intentional. We are trying to find what are the limits for a ship. How resilient are we to these different issues that could pop up? If we lose a tile anywhere in the vehicle, we want to know what that ultimate impact is going to be. So we've got a couple missing. We had a bunch pulled over the primary fuel, the LOX tanks, everything. This one, we've got a tile missing right on top. So that's going to see some of the highest temperatures during this re-entry, and there's just bare steel right underneath it. So we're going to see if Starship's robust enough to pull through that. Also have some tiles missing around the aft flaps, specifically on the leading edge. So again, we're getting a really good look right at the leading edge. That's getting really intense heating. So again, gonna see if it can make it through. See if all the flaps hold on. See if Starship holds together. But definitely could be a bumpy ride. But this is why we're flying. This is why we're flying in this part of the world. This is why we're putting Starship through these flight tests to really understand what its limits are. So we can then move on to the next thing. Just gonna be bringing ships back to the launch site for a catch. But for now, still on this suborbital. The light show continuing. Keep following it in. I think we got about 15 minutes until splashdown.
Yeah, Dan, it looks, you can see our speed our speed indicator in the bottom left there. It looks like we're starting to scrub off velocity a little bit quicker.
Ship is entering the peak heating phase of flight.
Looks like we can see some clouds down there as we pass through 70 kilometers altitude.
Yeah, the sun's starting to come up again. Ooh, there we go.
There we go.
Skirt is intact so far this time. If you watched Flight 10, you saw we entered with a little bit missing. That was ultimately traced to a little bit of buildup. We dumped prop on the way. We had a little bit of solid propellant buildup, and then either static discharge or the plasma ignited it, took out a tiny bit of that skirt, some of the aft flaps, but Starship, again, was able to fight through it, make it all the way to that landing burn. We addressed that, changed some of our prop dump con-ups, though, so should not be seeing that this time around. And as a reminder, in addition to these missing tile tests, we're doing kind of a unique flight on the way in. It's going to do what we call a banking maneuver. So while we're still going supersonic and even hypersonic, we're doing kind of a banking turn. And then we'll do a pretty aggressive turn right as we get into the subsonic and start doing our belly flop. And that's designed to essentially be the approach that we would do on a return to launch site and the tower catch. So don't be surprised if we see the ship start to turn and make a few maneuvers as it makes its way down to the Indian. And fun fact, even though we're doing all this turning, we're essentially targeting the exact same spot in the Indian Ocean we went to last time.
Look at that view. Oh. Wow.
All right, just about 12 minutes to go. Still looking good. That gives a pretty good view of those aft flaps where, again, on the leading edge, I think it might be on the one on the other side, we had some tiles removed with no backups behind it. So again, we're really trying to stress some of the most sensitive areas around Starship, where basically if you lose a tile, it's the worst possible spot. And if we're able to make it through this, then that tells us quite a bit about just how resilient this vehicle is.
Hate Losing says it's holding up good.
Yeah, and that shot we just had earlier was looking at what we call the business end of Starship with all the Raptor engines. And those are the engines that we're going to be expecting to light for that flip and landing burn, hopefully in about 10 minutes once we get through reentry. Yeah, there we go.
Thanks to Thomas Javins and
yeah, looking at E3,
Charlie.
that's the one. It's the one we did the relight on. So it's 2 for 2 so far. We'll see if it can go 3 for 3.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Thomas Javins, I Am Charlie, Jen Junkie on Twitch, CC on Twitch. Thank you. Appreciate everybody joining us. We're about to see the end of the flight. Starship spacecraft heading back to Earth.
All right, we can see
so
that
far,
speed
so
just continue to bleed off under 20,000 kilometers an hour. Ship still holding together.
Yeah, and if you look in the bottom right, looks like we've made it all the way to the Indian Ocean. We're coming up kind of near Australia, the west side of Australia there. So pretty crazy. We're only 56 minutes in, and we've made it all the way, halfway around the world.
Cryokeen says, this is amazing. Cher Martin says, it's holding up good.
It's actually a good demonstration of a future capability we hope to have on Starship where we will do point-to-point transport on Earth. So essentially travel anywhere in the world in about an hour or so, which is going to be pretty crazy. Imagine going from New York to Sydney in 1 hour instead of the 20 hours it takes currently.
One of our viewers was just talking about that. Morgiana says, technology has gone far. Pixie says, I took a 20-hour flight to Australia.
And a reminder,
so
this
horrible.
camera is, we see some of the heat rate picking up a little bit.
Guys?
And this camera is embedded right in the end of one of those forward flaps, so you see it moving around. That's the flap adjusting to maintain control. Looks like we're getting into our bank maneuver. Now power sliding through the atmosphere.
External temperatures are coming down.
Good. Gamer Lover says, hang in there.
Vehicle is now at maximum dynamic pressure.
Maximum dynamic pressure. What a shot. Wow. History Underfoot
All right, that
says
was
the footage
basically
is
a
amazing.
reverse max Q, so most aerodynamic stress that it's going to see during reentry, we just passed through it. So we're past that. We're past peak heating. Ship's still holding together. So we're currently in this bank maneuver. We're going to see it kind of roll over and do a pretty significant shift as we get down closer to the subsonic speeds.
Yeah, and that bank maneuver that Dan's mentioning is all in part of us to learn about the guidance, navigation, and control for return to launch site missions. So in the near future, we're hoping to return the ship back to the same pad we just took off on 59 minutes ago, and we've got to do some of these pretty dynamic bankings to make that trajectory work out.
All right, the light show kind of calming down as we're starting to move into the lower parts of the atmosphere. We should hit transonic, so hitting that transition between moving faster than the speed of sound and below the speed of sound in just about 3.5 minutes. Our landing burn should happen right around an hour and 6 minutes after launch, so we should be just about 6 minutes away from that. You can see lots of daylight. Everybody cross your fingers, see if our range team was able to get out there and provide any surprise views as Starship makes its way down. Oh, it's like they heard me.
Wow.
Ready and waiting, let's go.
Dan, you just spoke that view into existence there.
So
and again, all brought to us by Starlink.
Maneuver has started.
All right, guys. We're in the last few minutes.
All right, there we go. So we're now starting into our really heavy bank maneuver. Again, this does almost like a half circle loop to our actual trajectory.
Wow, look at that.
We're heading to the same
right
exact splashdown point, but we're kind of doing a more roundabout way to get there, where it's this kind of big, long half moon loop and then a really aggressive and a twist right at the very end. And that would line us up with the launch tower. Starship, on a return to launch site, would fly over the tower, do a quick landing burn flip, and then come down for catching the arms.
How about that S38 decal there, staying strong on that view we just had?
Good to see the numbers back on.
Yeah.
All right, should be hitting transonic in about 2.5 minutes. Landing flip coming up in about 4. Pretty clouds there in the Indian Ocean today. Again, yeah, we changed our launch times. We launch in the evening now, so we get these daytime views down in the Indian Ocean. One of the things we're really looking for, the reason we have the drone, other than, yeah, that looks really cool, is we're able to kind of see the ship. We can only see so much from these cameras. You can't see like the vast majority of the heat shield. So we throw these buoys out there. We've got there's...
You spoke it again, Dan. There it is.
Wow.
They're playing with me in the control room. All right. But we have these buoys out there. We have these drones that we're trying to see externally how the heat shield held up. Everybody saw from Flight 10 it had a little bit of a paint job, a little bit of a reddish hue. That was from those metallic tiles that we had tested, kind of oxidizing really rapidly in that plasma and then spreading those little oxide particles all over the heat shield. No metal tiles on this flight, so not expecting to see that.
Dynamic pressure is coming down.
Great test flight so far for them. I mean, even now, even if
nobody
something
gets
happened now, it's
seasick.
still a great test flight for them.
All right, coming up on transonic shortly. It's about 2.5 minutes of landing burn.
2.5 minutes till landing.
Yeah, and once we
burn,
get to around the 15-kilometer altitude mark, that's where we have a lot of flight history.
Starship is transonic, starting the belly flop phase of flight.
Belly flop
that
phase.
belly flop phase that we perfected in the suborbital campaigns. We're entering that now.
Wow.
Right, starting to get those Raptors ready. Should be 2 minutes away from landing burn. Again, we're going to do a flip. After we ignite those engines, we'll go from 3 down to 2 for the final phase of the landing burn and look for another soft splashdown, hopefully by our buoy and drone, which are hanging out, ready and waiting for a ship.
Seeing all 3 center engines have entered the chill phase.
We're
All
just
right,
about
less than a
there,
minute to
guys.
go.
Very close. Here we go.
The ship is making its turn for final approach.
And here's this kind of aggressive final turn that would essentially position it so it's right behind the launch and catch tower. Flaps holding strong. Landing burn in just under 20 seconds.
There's that buoy cam.
Ship landing startup.
There's our landing burn.
Wow.
3 down to 2.
Starship has landed.
Whoa, whoa, on the right. Look on the right. We saw it on the right on the buoy cam. Look at that. Wow, crazy. Right at the buoy. Right at, oh, and then it explodes when it's in the water or whatever. Right at the buoy, though. Right at the buoy.
As we said, we're not planning on recovering the ship today. Hey, welcome back to Earth, Starship. We are down in the Indian Ocean. Let him hear at Starbase. What a day.
What a flight.
Oh. All right. Welcome back to Earth, ship. What a day. A whole lot more to go through. As you just saw, everybody here at Starbase pretty hyped. Hey, Tyler, out of Hawthorne, how's everybody holding up?
Thank you, Dan. We had a fantastic time watching. It was another exciting Starship flight test in the books, and we hope that you enjoyed those Starlink views too. So congratulations to the team at Starbase and everyone here and around the company. So many employees contribute to the Starship program as we continue to iterate and make progress towards a multi-planetary future. So that wraps it up for us here in Hawthorne. Thank you for tuning in, and back to you guys.
Yeah, what an incredible launch today. We had successful liftoff. Booster completed its objective, successfully splashed down over in the Gulf. Obviously, we saw another amazing Starlink deploy as well from ship.
Yeah, we made it through that re-entry, testing all the different experience. We had missing tiles, gave us quite the light show. We had that Raptor relight, 3 for 3. That was ahead of re-entry, of course. And then that awesome splashdown that we just saw, including that dynamic banking maneuver to simulate RTLS when we returned to the launch site. So yeah, we promised maximum excitement, and Starship delivered.
Definitely.
Congrats to all our teammates at SpaceX and to everyone who's supporting the Starship program. And thank you to all our future customers for your support.
We'd also like to thank the fine people of Cameron County, including the residents of its newest city, Starbase, as well as the Coast Guard, the Federal Aviation Administration, the Government of Mexico, and the Australian Space Agency.
Yeah, be sure to follow SpaceX on X for updates and about more of the exciting views we didn't get to feature on today's broadcast.
And if you're interested in more launch coverage just like this, head over to spacex.com/launches for the most up-to-date information.
All right, I will take us out. Hey, congrats, Jake and Amanda. You guys did amazing. Great job. All right, today we launched the world's biggest rocket, knocked out all of our objectives. Shout outs to every single person who made this look easy. Thank you to everybody tuning in. We're going to see you back here for the very first flight of our next generation Starship. So we'll see you then. Good night.
Wow, so that's their second straight highly successful test flight they've had. Pretty much everything went great from what I could tell. I mean, I'm not an expert. They had one of the booster rockets did not light up for landing, but I mean, I think they have to be overjoyed with the last 2 test flights. Wow. Tori says, flight of perfection, 2 in a row success. Hey, by the way, quick thanks to Boastful Giant BDK, who says, well done, USA. Boastful Giant says, America is the greatest country in the world. Thank you, Jean Paul LaChance, for the gift memberships, and Lucia Harizo, who says, remember, they want things to go wrong and push the Starship beyond its limits. It's how they learn and how to make it safer. Thanks also Leon Yoder for your support, who says, wonder if Starship will change international shipping times and costs in the future. Imagine next day delivery from anywhere in the world. And thanks to I Am Charlie and Thomas Jarvins. Hey, do you guys want to see the the ending again? Want to see the splashdown again? Why don't we look at that splashdown again? It's so cool. Hold on, I'm gonna put it on the screen for you. Let's watch the end when it splashes down. I know people like to see that again, so I'm gonna put it on the screen right now for you. Let me just put it up here. Okay, this is coming up. I'm going to replay. This is a replay of moments ago. Here is the replay of the end of the splashdown. I don't know if I have it queued up right here. Probably have to go ahead a minute or so. Oh, I don't have the volume on. Hold on. Let's replay this.
Reignite those engines. We'll go from 3 down to 2 for the flip.
Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Here's the replay. Replay coming up. Replay coming up from moments ago.
Ship landing startup.
There's our landing burn. Three down to 2.
Starship has landed.
Explosive ending, said our viewer.
As we said, we're not planning on recovering the ship today. Hey, welcome back to Earth, Starship. We are down in the Indian Ocean. Let him hear it, Starbase.
It's pretty cool they can land it right where the buoy is. I assume the buoy camera can't move that fast, so they got to land it where the buoy is, and where the buoy cam is, and they do. Magwa says, amazing. Tom Home Hattel, was it Tom Home Hattelbroke or something? Said that was amazing. Tom Horn Hattelbrecky. Let me take some more. I want to take some more of your comments. But again, they got to be overjoyed with this. One of our viewers said, why is this hold on.
We said, we're not.
I'll freeze on that shot there. One of our and so that again, it's not a bad thing that it's blowing. It's expected that it was going to blow up like that when it landed. They haven't actually done the thing where they catch the Starship in the at the original launch pad, but they've been practicing to do that. So maybe in one of the next couple test flights they'll try doing that. That's awesome. So one of the viewers said, so like, why is this such a big deal? I mean, Starship is the next. It's the most powerful launch vehicle ever, and most powerful rocket ever. And this Starship, which is a combination of the spaceship and the booster, it's what NASA wants to use to bring astronauts to Mars starting in 2027. Elon Musk wants to use it to bring people. NASA wants to use it to bring astronauts to the moon. Starting in 2027, if the schedule is kept to. Elon Musk wants to use it to bring cargo and people to Mars. And it's really for SpaceX the next level of taking cargo to space. It's going to, you heard them say it, it's going to allow them to greatly improve, for example, the Starlink capacity by bringing lots of bigger, more and bigger satellites to space. But it's a big developmental step in space flight, and they've been testing it, and this is test flight 11. So, and this is, I believe this is that the NASA's relying on it to get people to the moon. I believe right now, I don't think there is a backup plan for getting people to the moon. Am I right about this? For NASA? They've been working with other providers, but I think this is the closest. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Chris N says Blue Origin is working on it too. But are they as far as SpaceX is? Our viewer block says Blue Origin has a lander, but SpaceX is the first one on the schedule. A human landing system, you can see here from Wikipedia. Hold on here. Where is my thing? A human landing system is a spacecraft in NASA's Artemis program that is expected to land humans on the moon. These are being designed to convey astronauts from the Lunar Gateway space station in lunar orbit to the lunar surface, sustain them there, and then return them to the Gateway station. As of 2024, NASA intends to use Starship HLS for Artemis 3, an enhanced Starship 8 human landing system for Artemis 4, and a Blue Origin human landing system for Artemis 5. Now, Artemis 5, when is that on the schedule for? Artemis 5 is scheduled to launch no earlier than March 2030. So that would be Blue Origin. But you can see in the near future, NASA is relying on SpaceX to get them on a SpaceX Starship to get them to the astronauts to the moon. But it's also a big advance in just, space technology in general. And again, it could maybe eventually lead to, oops, I got to get the clock off, to people going to Mars. Pixie says, exciting time to be alive. Let me read some more comments from you. Oh, also something else about SpaceX that I've read articles about is the importance of, it is supposed to be fully reusable, remember. Both parts, the spaceship, the top part, and the booster are designed to be fully reusable, which in theory could really cut costs. SpaceX is the world's most powerful launch vehicle ever. SpaceX says it's going to have the ability to rapidly turn around and launch again without refurbishment. Ruth Krafasi said that launch was so cool. Yeah, Smoke and Toad says they are planning on a quick turnaround eventually, aren't they? Yes, that's the idea. They're supposed to be able to relaunch with minimal refurbishment. I'm reading one article about it, and I don't know all the specifics, but it says that Starship's design and capabilities could enable things like advances in Earth-to-Earth transport, point-to-point travel on Earth, carrying passengers to anywhere in the world in under an hour. Now, I don't know all the specifics of this stuff. Space tourism. So that's why we're covering this. Group Anonymous says this is for future generations. Oh, by the way, AP had a little something about the flight today. You can see here. SpaceX launches the 11th test flight of its mega Starship rocket. We were just watching this. It's the biggest and most powerful rocket ever built. SpaceX founder and CEO Elon Musk intends to use Starship to send people to Mars. NASA's need is more immediate. The space agency cannot land astronauts on the moon by decade's end without the Starship, the reusable vehicle meant to get them from lunar orbit down to the surface and back up. Inside, hold on. The previous test flight in August, which was a success after a string of explosive failures, followed a similar path with similar goals. Okay. SpaceX is modifying its Cape Canaveral launch sites to accommodate Starships, in addition to the much smaller Falcon rockets used to transport astronauts and supplies to the International Space Station for NASA. Reuters says Starship is scheduled to land NASA astronauts on the moon by 2027, if the schedule holds. The rocket, which is many times larger than SpaceX's workhorse's Falcon 9, is also key for launching heavier Starlink satellites essential to the company's lucrative mobile broadband goals. It is the centerpiece of Musk's vision to send humans and cargo to Mars. A lengthy to-do list for Starship's future service as an astronaut moonlander for NASA. A lengthy to-do list remains for Starship's future service as an astronaut moonlander for NASA as part of a more than $3 billion contract awarded in 2021. Under the space agency's Artemis program, the Starship contract has made Musk's company one of the most prominent actors in a new space race to the moon between the US and China. China is targeting 2030 for its own crewed landing on the moon. A panel of NASA safety advisors has warned that meager prospects in developing the rocket's lunar lander design risks setting back the U.S. moon effort by years. Complex refueling missions in space and sticking a test landing on the moon's rough surface are among the top priorities that NASA requires SpaceX to accomplish. So those are a couple things I guess we're going to be seeing in future test flights. Complex refueling missions in space and sticking a test landing on the moon's rough surface. That's from Reuters. Group Anonymous says Earth can't sustain humans forever. String Theory says we sent men to the moon in 1969 with only handheld calculators and pencils and paper. We've talked about this on an earlier stream. Some people ask, like, why is it so hard to get men back to the moon? But there's some articles out there about it. If I can sort of quickly mention one. Yeah, I mean, one article from Scientific American mentions how much the Apollo program cost. The Apollo program that sent Americans to the moon back, in the 60s? That cost around $290 billion in today's dollars, whereas the Artemis program is costing $93 billion. Back then, NASA Scientific American said had about 4% of the nation's budget. Today, it is lucky to get around 1%. That's one factor. I'll post a link. I have to read up on this. It's a good question, but I'm looking at a Scientific American article that says, why is it so hard to go back to the moon? So you can check that out if you want. I'll post a link in the chat. I got to read some more about that. But I understand the question. By the way, I just asked the internet, and it says men have walked on the moon 6 times between 1969 and 1972. 12 astronauts did it. Between 1969 and 1972, Apollo 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Our viewer CAC813 just said that. Electra says, my grandfather was an engineer for the Apollo missions. Thank you, Battleborn Supermoto. Battleborn Supermoto says the Department of War wants to use, Space Starship for rapid payload transportation? Is that true? Thanks, Battleborn Supermoto. Thanks, The Chief's Way. The Chief's Way said the booster engine didn't light for the boost back burn, but did light for the landing burn. Is that true? Chief's Way? At one point I saw that light out. And again, the Wikipedia article it said partial failure, super heavy boost back burn start, 12 out of 13 engines ignited. Thank you, Chief's Way. Thank you, Eliza Jane, for your support as well. Could you imagine what if in a couple years we might be covering humans going to the moon? How about that? Crazy. Hey, thanks to CC143 and Cloud7767 for the bits on Twitch, and Jen Junkie for subscribing over there. Lynn Davis says, I am so fascinated with space and the planets, I hope we continue to explore. Well, again, congratulations to SpaceX on their 2 in a row successful flights. Test flights. Oh, and I should update you on one other thing. Some of our viewers messaged me about this. I posted about it on my X account. But let me see if I can update you really quick about this. Where is it here? If not, I'll post a link for you if I don't have something I can show you. TMZ and the New York Post reported that Alec Baldwin crashed a Range Rover into a tree in the Hamptons. Now, he's photographed afterwards and doesn't seem to be greatly injured. And apparently the reporting says his brother Stephen was with him. I will post a link. It says that, yes. I will post a link if you want to read about Alec Baldwin's Range Rover crash in the Hamptons. I hope everybody's okay. I just posted a link so you could read about it if you want. Keith Hardy says putting all this money into something that may not materialize due to World War III that's coming? Do you mean the moon landing? How many years to reach Mars? That I cannot tell you. I can say that NASA has a page where it says, Mars remains our horizon goal for human exploration. because it is one of the only other places we know where life may have existed in the solar system. It did say NASA is advancing many technologies to send astronauts to Mars as early as the 2030s. That's what they say. All right, I'll read a few more comments here. But we will keep an eye on the Starship program and other big space developments. Learn English Jazz Vlog says it's crazy going to the moon. Joe Martin says it's hard getting to the moon because it's so expensive. Melissa Terry says Kennedy Space Center is neat to visit. Guys, I think we have done what we came here to do. We came to cover the SpaceX Starship Flight Test 11. We got to watch it. We got to watch it together, which was fun, and chat about it. Oh, by the way, thanks to Greg Perry for your support. Thank you, Greg Perry. It's very kind of you. Yeah, you know, it's with these test flight streams, they can be different streams. There can be a mishap and you're covering planes getting diverted, or it can be successful and you get to cover all the flight stuff. So you never know what you're going to get. But I really appreciate you guys joining me here. My schedule is just crazy now. It is 2:56 a.m. here. What a day. I'm in Madrid, Spain. It's 2:56 a.m. right now. But I'm glad we got to cover this. And I'm still here for a little while longer, so as I am here, if big news pops up, I will certainly do my best to get on the air and cover it. And I really appreciate you guys being here, and also those of you who talked in the chat. Had a good time hanging out with you guys and checking this out. So thank you for joining. And if you want to subscribe, follow Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news coverage without an agenda. Agenda Free TV. This is an interesting, I'm sure we'll cover more space stuff. Maybe one day, maybe next time we'll have more time to talk about all the point-to-point, all that stuff in the future, like point-to-point space travel and stuff. I'm not an expert on all that stuff. I got to read up more on it. But if you want, subscribe, follow Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. And I will post news updates on my X account, which is @Lookner. I post there regularly. Let me just show you where that is. Well, it's @Lookner on X, @LOOKNER. I'll put a link in the chat. Oh, also, so you don't miss a stream, I would make sure you have the notifications turned on. We have our own free notification system. You can sign up for free. It's easy, and you get sent a message whenever we go live so you don't miss a stream. We do it through Discord. The mods will post a link to sign up for the free notifications, and you can find that link for the notifications on YouTube and Facebook in the description of this video. So sign up for those notifications. Hey, a huge thanks to our moderators. Thank you so much. We've been on a lot the last few days, a lot of news going on, and our mods have been here every time. They are the ones who make it so that we can have a chat. They keep things civil and under control and respectful in the chat. So thank you so much to our moderators. Over there on YouTube, Ruth Krafasi, Roberts Mayqueen, BZ was there. We had a bunch of mods tonight. Thank you so much. All of our other mods from YouTube, thank you. On Twitch, moderators like 13 Alamo, Bastion Girl, Big Ball of Yarn, Matthew Kohai 3, and Surly Dev, thank you so much. Linda Belk, Larry, Misha on X, Margaret Riley, Charlotte Webb, Shannon Davis Hughes on Facebook. Thanks to all of our moderators. Thank you. And also, thanks so much to everybody who donated. That's how I can do the channel. That's how the channel exists. That's how I can buy news footage. So huge thanks to everybody who donated. That was really, really nice of you. I greatly appreciate it. I think I thanked everybody. Hopefully I got everybody. I think. CC and Cloud. I thanked CC and Cloud already over on Twitch. Thank you. But thank you. If you ever want to donate, you go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. And hey, another good way to find out when we're live, follow us on X, at AgendaFreeTV on X. I always post there before we go live. I post updates about the channel. You can follow over there. When your schedule is really messed up. So it's not just, it's one thing that it's 2:59 a.m. here. So that's obviously very late. But I feel like it's noon. That's how messed up it is, because everything got messed up with the last couple days because we were up. I was up all last night, and then we did the coverage of the Middle East stuff. Then I slept after that. So it's not only the time here, it's the fact that it feels to me like it's noon, but it's 3 in the morning. So it's just crazy. Anyways, but hey, it happens sometimes when you have the news going on around the world in different places. Hey, we have a chat where you can chat with other people, with other viewers for free. It's our Discord chat. A lot of our viewers like doing it. Check it out. It's the same link as the link to sign up for the free notifications. And thanks to our Discord moderators for all you do. Thank you, Discord moderators. Also, for those who watch on YouTube, I would suggest turn on our YouTube notifications. That's another good way to find out when we are live on the air. It's a little tricky to turn them on. Let me show you how to turn on the YouTube notifications. You need to subscribe to the channel. Then you click this bell, the bell thing. Then you choose all notifications. So if you've subscribed already, make sure you have the bell checked and you've chosen all notifications. I want to thank our Facebook subscribers who support the channel by subscribing, like Yan Lipavsky. Thank you, Yan. Very nice of you. Michael Clayton, Robert Rial II, Chuck Mosca. Hey, by the way, Paul Anderson was moderating too. Thank you, Paul Anderson, for moderating over there on Facebook. Thanks, Michael Clayton, again for subscribing. Sharon Klassen-Goslin, Diane Allworth, Jennifer Ellers, Margaret Riley, Kay Lowry Body, Shannon Davis Hughes, and all of our other subscribers on Facebook. Thanks so much. Our subscribers on Twitch, thank you. People like Wall Street and Shaggy and Shrocky and 13 Alamo, Chesapeake Bay, Emilian, A Stoic Pause, Kurt Max, Mr. Clam 73, CC 143. Adam Isn't, thanks for subscribing. The Sugaro, thank you for subscribing. And who else? I said Shrocky. Deuce LM, Daddy Dino, Big Boss Now, thanks for subscribing. Darth Mush, thank you for subscribing. All of our subscribers on Twitch. Jack's Animals, thank you. And all the others. And YouTube, our members. Thanks so much to our members on YouTube. People like CAC813, Northwoods, Pat W, Purple Cat Audio, Tom Witcher, Nails Costly, Doug Lockrow, Confidence in God, Eric Johnson, Sharon Goslin, D. Gausser, Jerry Kovacs, Julio Limos, thank you for being a member. Dr. Prepper. Did I say Chaz Martin? Chung Peter, Fred Flintstone. Thank you, Fred, and thanks for the gift memberships. Fred Flintstone, the one and only Anita Man Tackies. BSH, thanks for being a member. Confidence in God, Ron Dykeman. And also all of our other viewers like Gandalf, Lunali Syria. Thank you. Jared91. Thanks to Macon Bacon, our subscriber, Macon Bacon 75. Thanks Panbo for watching on Twitch. My Mind Spray, thank you for watching. Magua. And Melissa Terry, Lynn Davis, Paula Thompson, Linda Saldino, Spencer Modero, Edward Nava. Edward says, why does it always explode when it lands in the water? So that was something expected. I don't know scientifically why the Starship explodes when it gets in the water. I don't know if it's because of does it have some fuel or the liquid oxygen or liquid methane, the propellant? Is it when the propellant hits the water? I don't know. That I wonder if I ask, is that an AI question? If I ask AI, I'm going to ask right now before we get off the air. Why does Starship spacecraft explode when it hits the ocean during a test flight? I don't know if the AI is going to give the right answer. So, according to Gemini AI, it says that typically it would be due to this is what I remember I said it could be the propellants, the mixing and ignition of the residual propellants, liquid oxygen and liquid methane, inside the tanks at the time of impact. Oh, they say that when the craft hits the water, the vehicle structure breaks, and that causes the liquid oxygen and the liquid methane to rapidly mix. And if an ignition source is present, such as residual engine heat or friction from the breakup, that leads to the explosion. Oh, that's interesting. That's what Gemini AI claims. How about that? So you get the propellant, the liquid oxygen and the liquid methane, and it mixes on impact and it gets ignited. That's what Gemini AI claims. Okay. I mean, it makes sense. I can't guarantee you it's true. Just to do one more test on this before we sign off. Now, hold on a second here. Hang on. If you give me 1 second here. I am committed to answering this question. Give me 1 second. We're trying to answer this question. I'm going to ask one other AI for the 5 people still watching. Okay, the question was, I thought I'd cut and pasted the question. The question was, why does Starship spacecraft explode when it hits ocean during test flight? Will ChatGPT give the same answer? Ooh. What ChatGPT does mention, yes, one thing ChatGPT does say as a possibility, it says that sometimes they intentionally destroy it, but it does say that the propellant, the liquid methane and the liquid oxygen can mix and ignite explosively on impact. But it talks about other possibilities. Anyways, I will let you guys research the question. I'm not going to try to get a conclusive answer right now. But it's a good question. Grok could know too. So it's time. It's 3:08 a.m. here. So anyways, I will let you guys, if you want, you can go, you can research that independently. Anyways, thanks for sticking around for our little bit of research on that. That is it for now. So thank you for watching. We have been covering live it was a successful Flight Test 11 of SpaceX Starship. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you to our mods. We will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.